I've gone ahead and uploaded the 5 templates to my design space. You'll want to do the same thing with whatever cutting program you have if you're not using Cricut. And then I'm going to just select this one to add to my canvas because I've already got the other 4 in there. And you'll just see them on the side hidden here. So the first thing that I'm going to do is go through and turn all of these lines that I know are score lines into score lines. So, and I can tell that they are because they're red. So when I select them, you'll see that this up here stays red, and that's just telling me that I've selected all the score lines that are inside of that shape. Okay. So I'm going to click on Operation and go to Score, and then I'm going to click off the design, and you'll see that just the lines that I want to fold are scored. Okay, this line and this line are a cut line, but they need to stay attached to this whole design. So now these are all still grouped, so all I have to do is just click this upper level of the group, and it selects everything, and then I can tell it attach. And what that does is it makes sure that each of these score lines and this cut line stay relative to this overall card shape that cuts out. Okay. Now, if you want to use pattern papers with these, you can, I didn't include the cutouts for those because 1, it's just simple rectangle shapes that you can make for your pattern papers, and 2, I didn't want it to get too clunky and overwhelming. So the only thing you need to do is go over here to Shapes and choose the square, undo the proportion, and then you can drag and drop. You can either make it cover the entire shape of the card, or you can give yourself a little bit of a margin. I prefer a margin, so that's how I'm going to design mine. And I just drag it till it visually looks like it's about the same on the sides, and then top and bottom. This could probably be just a little taller, so I'll bump this just a little, and that's way too much. Let's see if I can just drag it lightly. There we go. Okay, so there's this shape, but I still need to fill in this area, so I'm just going to hit copy and paste, and then undo my ratio again, bring this down in here and resize again. And it doesn't really matter how tall it is because they're going to be merged together. So same idea, I'm just going to give myself a little bit of a margin and make sure it's pretty even and looks fairly consistent with what this one looks like. Okay, and now that those 2 are done, I'm going to select both. So I'm going to hold the Shift key and click here on this shape, or I can do that over here in my layers panel. So I can click this shape and then hold Shift and click this shape, and then I'm going to come down here to combine, and I'm going to weld these together. I'm going to show you two things here. So when I unite, it puts the 2 shapes together and it's going to cut them as one, but I can always go back and undo them if I want to. Okay, that's important because if you decide you don't like the way you did it, or you want something different, or you need to adjust, you can come back and do that without having to hit the undo button. You just go combine and then undo unite layers, and they're undone. If you do combine and weld, it makes them uniform, and now it's one shape, and there is no way to undo that unless of course you use your Command Z. But once you've saved this project, you wouldn't be able to edit this part again. You just have to start over with designing this pattern paper. Okay, and I always set my pattern papers to either bright pinks or bright reds, so I'm going to go ahead or bright purples. There isn't really a bright pink in this, so I guess I could choose one out of here. Okay, so there's one pattern paper, and then I'm just going to do my shapes again. I still have it copied, so I'll just do Command V and then undo my proportion, and same idea, just drag and drop until you're happy with your borders and your sizing. Okay, and I need to bring this one down just a little. There we go. And then do another one to create this T section here. And because I copied this first square, this is actually identical for width. So if I just bring it down to where I want for my margin on the bottom, then I can just drag and drop this until it fits in here like that, and then select the 2 and combine again. And now if you want pattern papers over here, you can do the exact same thing. So get your shape, and once you make one on each side over here, you can just copy and paste for the other side, or just duplicate it. I'm going to zoom in just a little so we can see our border here. I think I'm a little too tall. Okay, so there's the first one, and then I can copy and paste that over here for the second. Okay, and then I can also paste it one more time and line it up right here and then just shrink it down for that little tiny square. Undo my proportion, pull this top line down until I can see my margin there and I'm happy with it. And then I can copy that and paste it over here. So now I have pattern paper for here and the top. So these two pieces, and then on my sides, I could set those as a different color. I might do those purple. And then these could be green. And then if you want an additional layer, you can, on top of these, you just do the exact same thing, only give yourself a margin again so that your pattern or your color will be showing through or have a border, if that makes sense. Like that, there we go. So let's say I'm just going to do it for the one side, but let's just say I want it one more time over here. And in my sample card, you'll see that I have it. I have two. I have a pattern paper, and then that's green, and then I put an orange pumpkin pattern paper over again. So now I don't actually even need to undo the ratio on this one. I can just drag it and change the size. I shouldn't have to undo the ratio anyway. It should. Let me adjust it without undoing the ratio. That was interesting. Okay, maybe it's undone from the last time. I don't know. Okay. So then this would be an additional pattern paper, and I can do the exact same. I can just copy and paste these one more time for this side over here. And now when I go ahead and make it, it'll cut my card base, it'll cut this pattern paper, a second pattern paper in purple, a third in green, and then a fourth in blue. Okay, so go ahead and get yours cut out, and then we will meet back together and make it or put it together. All right, the way these folds work is you do you kind of do a light crease where you know that the card is actually going to be folded in half. And then you want to do a mountain fold with the first one on your stepper side, a valley, and then the last one should, or whichever one, you just keep going. So it would be mountain, valley, and if you had multiples, you would just keep doing that until you reach the end of those folds. And then it should be that both of your card edges line up and your folds are kind of hidden inside the card like this. So when it's folded flat, it'll look like that. And then when it's standing, that's when you decorate it so that you can see the front of it and it's all fun and funky. Okay, so again, it's valley or like mountain, valley, and then this one would be a mountain. And then this is our card center right here. Okay, and then mountain, valley. Okay, so that one, might have cut a little crooked on the. You can use your bone folder to kind of make those folds a little more crisp if you need to. Usually with the, if you've done it with the Cricut, they're already pretty well scored in there, so you don't have to mess with them too much. And then for this one, we're actually going to assemble together. And I've cut some pieces to go for my design. So I'm going to do my top crease there. And then this one will be valley, or I guess it's folding into the valley, but it's creating a mountain. You could get confused on that. And then just keep folding those. I'm going to use my bone folder on these in just a second. I feel like it cut a little, my paper didn't hold to my mat very well, so it's kind of crooked. Okay. And then once I have them all in place, then I'm just going to go ahead and press those down. It's a little crooked and it's kind of hanging out the bottom, but when it's standing, you're not going to notice. It's just when it's going to be folded closed, and once it's displayed, it won't be folded closed very much. Okay, so there's the stepper and what it looks like. And I'm going to go ahead and start attaching some pattern paper to it. And I just did like I showed you on the Cricut and made a couple shapes with rectangles that matched the front and back of the stepper card. And then, sorry about that, I'm going to open it because I think that'll be easier to kind of lay this on there and find my edges or my margins. Okay. Anyway, I just did a couple rectangles and then I welded those together. And I noticed today that the difference between weld and merge, or weld and unite, is weld will actually like make it into one image and then you can't undo that ever again. If you do unite and you decide to change your mind, you can pull those back apart again. Like it has an undo unite option. There, you can see where that went crooked right there. I kind of pulled up on my mat. Okay, so I want this one to be black. And you're not going to see the insides of those valleys, but I'm going to decorate them anyway, just in case it gets opened up like this. Just because I think it'll make it a little more cute, a little more finished and polished. And this was the inside of this one. Sorry, I went off screen there. And then this is the first mountain or flap that we're actually going to decorate. And I just went through my Halloween scraps again. These are just little pieces, and you can cut these either by hand or you can have your Cricut cut them. I didn't want to deal with the measuring and everything, so I just had my Cricut cut them. So then now that we've covered them in pattern paper, when it's folded, it's going to look like this. Okay, so there's our whole card, and then you just go ahead and start putting the things on it that you want. So I'm going to go ahead and pick out a few of the things that I need and organize them, and then we will start attaching. All right, I had a number of these Lawn Fawn haunted house die cuts that I had die cut and colored. And then if you watched my adhesive, like my liquid glue adhesive video, I used different glues on each of these to see how well they stuck. And then I've just got some little bits and pieces that I've done before too. So what we're going to do is we're going to attach these and then a little sticker sentiment and just basically create this little standing card with the village and just kind of rearrange it as we go. So I've got 4 houses and there's 2 of these plus this section over here, but I'm going to kind of use this as the sentiment area. So I think I'll put the larger houses right here in the front, and I'm just going to run a little bit of glue along the bottom here. And then the idea is I'll just decorate around those with some of the little bits and bobbles that have been cut out there also. I'm just running some glue just kind of along the base of the house, and then I'm going to glue it onto each of those, and then one onto the front where I want the sentiment as well. And I'm just kind of staggering them as I go. Pumpkin or something in front of one of those houses might be cute too. Once I have that, then I can open this up so I'll know which ones I'm actually decorating, because you don't want to decorate inside those valleys. And then I want this house to be glued down all the way. If you wanted to use pop dots or foam dots or anything, this would be the place to do that too. It would add just a little bit more dimension on this side over here. I'm going to do the graveyard by this one, I think. And then just a few trees here and there. I think I'll put this one over here. Honestly, the longest part of this whole card would be cutting and coloring the die cuts. And you don't have to use die cuts on this. You can use whatever you've got as far as embellishments or decorations or things that you want to cut out with your Cricut. You could be cutting out any number of elements from Cricut Design Space or Cricut Access to create some little Halloween scene. We've got a ghost there and a ghost on each of the houses. This guy's kind of missing a ghost, so I'm going to go ahead and maybe put it up here in the sky. And then that's what I'm going to use for the clouds. I thought a few of these. This one here has already got some adhesive stuck to it from one of my samples. So I'll put that up in the sky. Maybe an extra cloud. And then a few bats. Because you can't have Halloween without bats. I might stick one in a tree or something here, so just so I can get them kind of flying, since there's not really anything to stick to it behind. Kind of like use him as an offset on that tree. So it's going to look like he's flying through the sky just in front of the tree. And a star maybe over here. This section's getting a little busy, but I don't have a very large sentiment, so I'm not too worried about it being busy right now anyway. Star. And maybe one other little star. Okay, and now that that's done, I'm going to do the sentiment and then see if we have room left for the bling. I'm going to move a few of these out of the way so I don't get them stuck to something else. I have the sticker page here still, and I was going to do Eek and then Best Night Ever. And you can either do your sentiment like down on this strip here and on the side, or you could do it up here on the top, or you could do both. But I think I like it right here. And then I can put a little bit of bling up there in the top of this. So when it's all folded and tucked down, see how it makes a cute little village. And then when it's standing, you're going to see it the same way, but with a little bit more dimension. Okay. And then we just need to put a few of those blings on there. And then you've got room in the back, or you can write a sentiment inside right here on this part. Okay. You could decorate or stamp inside here if you wanted to. Maybe like one of those little ghosties or some bats or something would be cute just stamped in there in black. Okay. And then I want to do, I kind of like these blues. See if I can get this off. This thing doesn't ever work very well for me. There we go. Those purples are pretty too. And of course the black. Wouldn't be Halloween without black. Another black over here. Maybe a green up here. I'm just going to kind of sprinkle some sparkles. One more blue. So we've got two of each color. There we go. Okay, so quick and easy. Those templates are going to be fun because you can adjust them and change them into whatever you want. You can do a framed sentiment on this side and a photo. You can do all kinds of things. There are loads of different resources or pictures of stepper cards, and I will link to a few also so that you've got some inspiration and some ideas. Okay, so the idea is you've got a right hand stepper card with multiples. You've got a right hand stepper card with just a single, so there would be more space for something to decorate there. You've got a center that's a little bit wider, okay, with two side steppers, or you've got a center that's a little bit more narrow with two side steppers, okay, and they all are pretty close to an actual like 5x7, or no, I did 4x6 card. I can't remember. I have to measure, but they should fit in standard envelopes. Yeah, 4.5x6. So when they're folded, they should equal 4.5x6. So this one's 6 long and 4.5 wide. Okay. So if you have any questions, leave me a comment down below, comments, and then as always, hit like and subscribe. And thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.